Hello there, Crafty Doer. Jessica Michaels here. Welcome back to the Crafty Doings Mixed Media Paper Crafts. Welcome if you are new. This video is for a cherry on top in our monthly YouTube hop. So grab a comfy chair, grab all your crafty things, and let's get into the Crafty Doings. This month's theme is family, and I had an itch to create with Kraft paper. So I'm going to be working with Distressed Kraft Heavy Stock, Distressed Oxide in Wild Honey, Stormy Sky, and Hickory Smoke, and also the new 49 and Market Glimmer and Glee collection. I'm also going to draw inspiration from this week's sketch number 483. You can find over on the Cherry blog. Every week is a different sketch, and you get a chance to win 1,000 cherry points. And if you don't know what that is, the more you collect, the more you can get off your total purchase, and you can accumulate them as well. I'll have the link to the Cherry blog in the description box below, so you can learn more about how to earn cherry points. I'm going to go ahead and start by trimming down my craft paper, because this is going to be my base, down to an 8x8, because that is what I scrapbook. And I've already gone through the 6x8 paper pack from this collection and selected a few pattern papers that I really want to incorporate into my design. I'm going to do a little bit of ink smooshing, and there are many names for this technique. I've heard it called a packaging technique. I've heard it called the kissing technique. I like to call it the smooshing technique, because that is exactly what I do. I smoosh the piece of plastic into the ink pad and then smoosh it onto my paper. And I'm going to go for oxides as opposed to maybe like a dye ink, because the oxide will truly show up on this craft paper. So here is a tiny little Ziploc bag and my handy dandy distress sprayer. I need to fill it up, and I happen to have a little bit water left in my water bottle. So instead of getting out of my seat, I'm going to go ahead and do that. So simply smoosh it down into the oxide pad, collect as much oxide onto the plastic, and lightly spritz it with water. Now, to follow the design from the sketch a little bit, I'm going to ink smoosh vertical lines in every color, and repeat that pattern until the entire page is covered. I encourage you to dry every color before you add the next one, because although the gray and the blue mixed together doesn't make another color, the yellow and the blue makes green, and I started to get a bit of that mixture there. So I could just simply lift it up with my paper towel, but because I am so impatient and I am liking what I'm seeing, I just want to go. But yes, I highly encourage you to dry in between layers. I'm going to take a look around the rub-on transfers to see if anything stands out to me, so that I can transfer it on to my background before I start on to the next, which is a pattern paper. And nothing really does, except for this bit down here, which will be perfect for my journaling. Now, I'm not sure if I want to transfer it right onto the craft. I don't know if it's going to blend in too much with the background, or if I want to layer it with one of these rub-on transfers, or if I want to rub it on a white piece of paper, perhaps, just kind of like it's sitting on the backing of the transfers. But what will help me decide is if I start pulling my design together. So let me grab my photos and see where I kind of want the placement and the placement of everything else. I actually pulled the distressed oxide colors from the pattern papers. And I want to once again bring the sketch throughout the entire design, including the pattern papers. So I'm going to do a little paper tearing, and I'm going to tear in the direction where I get this white on the edge of the pattern paper. If I were to tear it the opposite direction, as you can see the yellow paper on my desk, then you won't get the edge. I guess it's just all preference. I go back and forth between two, whatever I'm feeling, while I'm creating a, certain layout. So this is the general design that I want for the layout. So now it's time to focus on the title. And I know that I want to use Sizzix Thinlits, Tim Holtz, handwritten love is on the left, and then the alphanumeric bulletin Thinlit die on the right. And I'm going to go in with the same pattern paper that I tore to die cut for my title. All right, I'm feeling pretty good about this design, so I'm going to start adhering these pattern papers. I'm going to center it a little bit more. I'm even going to spread the strips a little further away from each other. And then I get this awesome idea of running it through my machine, my sewing machine, and I'm just going to do some zigzags and straight stitches from one end to the other on every single strip of pattern paper. I think it's a really cool way to add interest and texture, and then I'm also going to leave extra long thread at the ends, so that is another layer of cool dimension and texture as well. I think it looks pretty great. I'm going to use some cherry tape to adhere this down. I couldn't remember if I had it upside down or not, and it just didn't sit right. So good thing I ended up remembering that I did have it flipped over. I'm also going to adhere my photos down with cherry tape, except for the square ones. I'm going to add some cherry foam tape for a little bit of lift on the page. The cool thing about the Sizzix Thinlits alphanumeric by Tim Holtz is that when I cut it out in two different pattern papers, I can mix match the insides and the outlines to see which fits best. And I think I'm going to go with this one. So now I'm going to put down my pictures. I'm going to start assembling my journaling area, which I decide that I'm going to grab the back of one of the pattern papers that I have been using throughout the layout and transfer the rub-on onto that. So I pretty much made my own little ephemera, am I right? When I cut the edges, I want to kind of swivel my knife left and right so that the edges aren't completely straight and the corners aren't completely cornered. This will definitely give it that faux ephemera feel. So I'm going to put that down and then work on my title. Because I scrapbook 8x8, the Sizzix alphanumeric Thinlits by Tim Holtz are a little bit larger in scale. You will see it on my 8x8. So instead of spelling the entire word family, I'm just going to go with FAM and then put the handwritten love note on Thinlit die cut on top of that. I truly do love these alphanumeric dies. So next I'm going to add my date. One of my favorite ways to add my date, and only because I usually forget to incorporate it to my design, is by using my date roller. This one is by American Crafts, and I usually have a scrap piece of white paper lying around my desk, and that's exactly what I use. I usually trim it down to about 1/4 of an inch wide, which is the perfect size for my cherry foam tape. This is perfect addition to my design though, because it kind of balances with my journaling. I also like to dry my stamping before I trim it or work with it, because it prevents smudging. Then I'm going to add my journaling and I will be almost done. To journal, I'm going to use a black Micron pen. I love this brand of pens. They are permanent, fade resistant, pigment based ink, so it won't bleed or run. So this is perfect for preventing all of that on my journaling. I love this month's theme, family, and I hope that you take it into your craft room and get inspired. For me, family is also friends. You get to choose them and call them family, not like the family that you're born into, you know? So you get the best of both worlds. To me, family also means pouring into those who pour into you. It also means to cherish every moment, especially the little things like cooking together or laughing and learning from one another. And that is what this layout is all about for me. All right. If you don't already know me, know that I usually leave my paper projects sitting on my desk for a day or two. And then when I come back to them, I have the worst habit of changing or adding things to it, and this layout is no exception. So you will see in the still photos at the end of the video what I added, and I just dug into the laser cut elements from the collection and embellished. Some of them I adhered with scrapbook adhesive foam squares, and others I did not. I just adhere with glue, and you'll see that I kind of worked in groups of 3, or rules of 3 I should say. With that being said, thank you so much for watching. I truly do hope that you were inspired today to reach for your mixed media and create on your paper crafts. For more tips, tricks, and mixed media inspiration, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, The Crafty Doings. Also, don't forget to hop along and go look at all the other family inspired projects. Comment, like, and follow each creative for your chance to win a $25 gift card to a cherry on top. Until the next Crafty Doings.